Hey, welcome back everybody. Today we're talking about Underwater Labs and the subs out now. That's right, it's real, it's happening for Rust Console Edition for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, next generations, and everything in between. And I'm Jade Monkey. Okay, we're going to be going over what you guys can expect, the patch notes, a little bit of what's coming in the future. Hello. And yeah, a lot of very exciting stuff happening here. So it's worth mentioning to cover first and foremost, because I know a lot of people are waiting for this. The custom server will have, obviously, the labs and the subs on there. This is what the server looks like. You can search Jade and filter by server slots, and then just filter, or I should say, sort by fullest servers. You should find us at the top. This is exactly what it looks like, and hopefully the server population can be put back to 100. There was a bit of a glitch on the last patch where it got unstable past 50, so we should be good on this one. If you are looking for Q-Skip, which is basically VIP on my server, go to my YouTube channel, become a channel member. Once you become a channel member, then look for this community post here, and then reply with your gamer tag or PSN ID. I will echo back what we put in the database, and I'll also heart it and like it, so you'll get the notification on your mobile device, so you'll know when you have the Q-Skip, so you're good to go. So yeah, and we'll be running some events and doing live stream stuff there once this is up and running. Fingers crossed that everything goes as planned when this actually goes through. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit the old patch notes, shall we? We shall. And yes, we are going to be getting tugboats. It's not in today, but it will be shortly in PTB, but we'll cover that here in a second. All right, let's hit the old patch notes, shall we? Aquageddon, that's what this one's called. Explore the new procedurally generated Underwater Labs monument residing on the ocean floor. Arriving in your new solo duo submarine via the moon pool and face underwater NPCs, solve puzzles, and play Chippy. This update requires a full blueprint wipe due to the addition of new craftable items. So yes, everything did just get a hard wipe. Little tip here. These can be found at the fishing village. This bad boy goes for 200 scrap, and this little guy over here, the duo sub, goes for 300 scrap. You don't have to have these to enter Underwater Labs. It is a pretty much you just need an air tank to go down there, and but you can go down here without an air tank and just use a submarine. So and it also has just like a small storage spot inside. Or you can also take it from somebody. Let's be honest, this is the apocalypse. This is Rust we're talking about. Hello. All right, so let's go back here. New monument, Underwater Labs. This new underwater monument spawns offshore and is accessible only by, well, here we go, only by diving using submarines. With a procedurally generated monument are puzzles, loot, and even hostile NPCs. They're not kidding. You can go down there with no loot at all. You can go down there with one fuse, a blue card, red card, or even a green card, and get even more loot. They do respawn on the regular, and as they said, there are NPCs in there. It's a whole new faction. They're not dangerous alone, but they're dangerous in groups, and they charge you. So it's an experience. So be ready. Just saying. I don't think you can really primitive it too much, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure some people out there will figure it out. Excuse me. It says new vehicle submarines, solo and duo submarines are new submersive vehicles players can use to travel underwater. New ammo, torpedoes. Torpedoes can and will sink ships if used at short range. They can also, if you're too close to the ground, they'll also blow you up. And yes, you can shoot structures underwater, but it's really not worth raiding in that fashion, even if it is a door. I think it's almost close to 100 torpedoes to knock out a stone structure, so like just as a loose reference. Yes, you can do it, but it's better for just taking out other vehicles or people. It's good for that. Okay, new map feature. This one's really nice, guys. Map markers. Up to 5 map markers which will be shared with all of your teammates if you are the leader of the team. So we have private markers, and then we have team markers. So yes, they are shared via or across the team. Very, very useful. New map controls. Left stick now controls the cursor, while the right stick controls the zoom level. Weapon inspection. Players can now look at their weapon and or skins via the gesture wheel. Is also nice. Improved player map. Players can now see the layout for each floor of the Underwater Labs. We kind of have to dig in our legend to find it. Here you can kind of just click on the side, but it's essentially this. And you can use this to kind of see how complex the labs can be on certain levels. So, and as they said, procedurally generated does mean that it changes per map seed. So depending on what server you're on, and we're just going to say that everybody has a different seed, then you'll have a different experience on all of the labs. They have like different modules and they're configured differently, and there's a role based off of the seed to see how they're configured and what modules do show up. So either way you cut it, there's a ton of loot down there and it spawns wicked fast. And if you can handle the scientists, it's definitely a good place to hang out. Both for loot, but also for, you know, attacking other players. Improved Teams UI. Team members' names will now change color, excuse me, depending on the situation they're in. So red is obviously not alive, orange is under attack or taking fire. Gameplay. Status indicators are no longer missing despite taking effect. Workbench controls are no longer match map screen controls. Players' oxygen levels no longer deplete when they're not underwater. Boats no longer slow down to a gradual stop when turning, and players no longer get kicked when jumping on rooftops. Here's another big change. I think we covered this in a prior video, but the controls for like boats and submarines have changed, or at least for us. Before it was like the left and right triggers. Now it's up and down on your left thumbstick. So keep that in mind. When you get in the boat, you're going to be like, it's broken. It's not. And I think that's to come in line with automatic running, both for submarines, but also for our good friend the Tugboat that will be coming at some point in the very near future. Okay, dialogue. UI. Dialogue options no longer exceed the dialogue box of the boat vendor. Gesture radial menu no longer remains persistent on screen when the player is wounded. Players are no longer able to open the gesture radial menu during wounded state. You flip on the bird while you're down. Players are no longer able to spam chat radius menus when it's disabled. Oh, thank goodness. Quick chat no longer has null entries at the end of each phrase. Gesture wheels will no longer quickly pop up when disabled quick chat is on. Workbench tech tree cursor movement is now no longer tied to zoom level. Thank you. Visuals. There is no longer a visible horizon line on the seabed. Thank goodness. Artifacts underwater no longer have pink particle effects. If you notice, if you have a faster system, I think we have bubbles underwater for our version, which is kind of nice. Underwater layer is no longer visible when slightly above the surface of the water. Several items no longer look blocky and fragmented when smoke effects are turned on. Yeah, there was like stuff around the edges of other objects. That's nice. Underwater VFX no longer persist when players are swimming slightly above the surface. Flashing visuals when stationary near the water surface no longer persist. Spectator view no longer shows underwater bubble effects or snow particles when spectating mounted players. Mounted. Player screen control button prompts no longer break after dying. Light blue shader no longer appears on the world when the player emerges from the water. Map cursor now focuses on the player when the death screen instead of moving towards the edge. Thank goodness. Other changes. Players no longer get kicked when joining servers, and title no longer crashes when joining other servers. We'll go over the known issues here in a second. Okay, so this is all going to be in the game. It's fantastic. We also have a new skin packs that came in. There'll be a video on that later. But just know that this isn't in yet, but it should be in next week. I think latest the week after that. So like literally it's going to be on testing branch first, right? That separate download, the separate launch you have to put in. So if people are looking for tugboats in a week on main branch, you're not going to find it. It's going to be on testing. Once it's there, it sits there for about a month, and I think at the end of June is when this and possibly other things will come into the game. Just know that submarines are the hard counter to these guys. And if you're not excited about this, you should be. They're essentially mobile bases. And what a great way to counter things like cargo ship, oil rig, labs. Once you authorize on this, you can literally build things down here. Not everything, but some things. So no, you can't put turrets on there. Believe me, we tried. No, you can't put traps on there. We've tried. No, you can't grow plants on here. We've also tried. But you can put things down here like a computer station and peep on the old labs and go, it's time, boys. Let's hit the water. So I think that's really... Oh, there you go. There's one. There's one right there. The Cantina. So yes, very exciting update. A lot of cool stuff happening. As I said before, on my custom server, we're going to have a lot of really cool stuff happening there. We're going to try to run some events. I might do a little capture the sub, and then people get some loot for that on my server. I think it's going to be fantastic. Hopefully things, knock on wood, go well. I know this is a big update, so hopefully all of the hiccups are all ironed out, right? Okay, so let's go over some of the known issues that they do have for this patch. Moon pool icons are missing from the multi-layered map. Players are able to remove map markers placed on a death point. Wrong sound effect plays when swapping seats in the duo submarine. UI for players submerged underwater does not show in HUD when submerged by crouching. Map UI persists to other tabs after closing the map tab with legend open, so I guess make sure your legend's closed when you're taking that down. You'll probably have to hard start it again, is my guess. Map controls on death screen appear after looking at respawn points. Sleeping bag markers don't scale according to player's zoom at death screen. Map marker UI is obscured off screen when map screen is zoomed in roughly 75% or more. Map cursor slows down when the map is almost completely zoomed out in certain circumstances, and death screen map moves erratically when fully zoomed in, exposing the game area behind the map. A little erratic, but I think these are some things that'll get ironed out in relatively soon. So, yeah, mad exciting for all this stuff. We've been playing this over on Testing Branch quite a bit. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. The skins are going to be pretty sick. I've already seen some of them. So, yeah, if you're looking for a great C-Labs guide, go ahead and check out the end screen. It should already be up on your screen now. And hopefully we'll see you on our custom server or in the next live stream or video. Love ya. Bye. Oots, oots, oots.